Tom, Mule Variations, it's your first new full-length record since 1993, and listening to it, the songs, they seem like an introduction to all the various styles that you've worked in over the years. Is it sort of like coming full circle?
Yeah, I hope not, Jody. I get the image of somebody with their one foot nailed to the floor when I think about coming full circle. If I was coming full circle, I guess I'd move back to the town I grew up in, you know. At the same time, I guess I am circling in some way. Maybe I'm circling. I'm looking for a place to land. Ever since Swordfishtrombones, I've tried to explore diverse musical styles and that type of thing. I touched on a few of them here on this record. Some blues and a lot of different kinds of things. So I think there's some a lot of variety.
Well, let's take the title, Mule Variations. Mule has so many connotations. To me, when I think of mules, I think about work. So does that mean that these 16 songs on the album are 16 variations of your work?
Gee, I never looked at it like that. My wife said I didn't marry a man, I married a mule. That's what she said. People don't write as much about animals as they should. Perhaps they will now in the future. I don't know. We'd done the song "Mule, Get Behind the Mule." We'd done it several times. We did it. We did a Chinese version, and we did a cha-cha version, and a raga version, and all these different and a cappella, and we had all these different variations on the same song. We made these mule variations. So. We started referring to the record as Mule Variations, but in kind of a humorous way, and then it stuck.
The last album, I think, was Bone Machine, last album of new studio stuff. Have you been writing the whole time in between Bone Machine and Mule Variations?
Well, no, I haven't been. I have things here and there that I accumulate, but for the most part, I've been writing the whole time. Or I'd have too many songs. I wouldn't know what to do with those songs. Yeah, we had 25, and then you put 16 on the record, and the rest of them wind up in the orphanage. That's kind of how it works.
You have a partnership with your wife, Kathleen Brennan, which I know is multifaceted, but I was wondering about your partnership with Kathleen as far as the songwriting goes.
Yeah, we've been writing and working together, collaborating together since Swordfishtrombones, and she's great to work with. It's... one of those things where it's you wash, I'll dry. She's done a lot of things. She's an excellent pianist. She was a night clerk at a big resort hotel in Florida. And then she was a elevator operator at the Taft Hotel. And then she was played organ on a cruise ship for a while. And she's an opera buff and a bug collector, and she's done a lot of things. And she has dreams like Hieronymus Bosch. So she writes more from her dreams. I write more from the world or from the newspaper or something like that. And somehow it all works together. She's great. So it works.
Do any of the songs that you've co-written with Kathleen, do they come from her presenting an idea and then you fleshing it out, or is it usually the other way around?
Oh, it's a little bit of both. I usually sit down and write a collection of songs. You say, okay, for the next... It's like fishing, That's what David Lynch said. He said, you got to have a very comfortable chair, and you have to be very quiet if you want to catch the big ones.
On the Mule Variations, there's a lot of spirituality. There's a lot of animals. But one thing I've noticed is an obsession with Asian things. Not only on this record, but going back to a song like Singapore. But on the new album, we've got Filipino box spring hog, and a mention of Saigon, and a mention of Indonesia. And Mule Variations opens with Big in Japan. Is it the Japanese who have an obsession with you?
Gee, I don't know. I hadn't really thought of it that way or in that context. Don't know. It's one of those, it's a motif, I guess. But had it not been pointed out to me, I never would have thought about it. Sometimes you just reach for something when you're working on a song. That's why I like to have maps up on the wall when we're recording, because it always feels like we're off on an adventure, and I like to refer to the maps.
Well, are you big in Japan?
Well, I hope to be big in Japan, and after this, I don't know if I'm big in Japan. I've been over there several times, but I haven't been there many years. So, there are people that are just big in Japan, which is this is a song about that. You can't work anywhere else but Japan.
Big in Japan opens your new album, Mule Variations, and there's some strange sounds the minute you put the CD in. Is that a sample of your own vocal percussion, or what's happening there?
It's just a contest I had with myself in a hotel room. I wanted to see if I could sound like a band all by myself without any instruments. So I stood banging on the chest of drawers and the wall and the headboard, and just trying to get that sound, like that full band sound. Looped it and sampled it, or sampled it and looped it, or whatever they call it.
That heavy rhythmic sound that's on Big in Japan started turning up on your records around Swordfishtrombones. Between 1980, when Heart Attack and Vine came out, and then 3 years later there was Swordfishtrombones, there was a big shift in the work of Tom Waits. What happened back then?
It was a James Brown disorder. There's no hope, but with research they say that they might find a cure. I don't know. I guess just trying to do things. Up until that point, I was doing more. I guess there was more of an abundance of ballads on the records, and then I started banging on things and playing the drums myself, and just trying to do things that sounded more angry. Actually, I don't do enough of it. I'd like to do more of it. I'd like to do a record. It was just that. Maybe the next one.
That was around the time that you moved from one label to another. I think that's around the time you met Kathleen, and also around the time when you were doing some of your first movie work, right?
I was with a manager for a long time and broke off with my manager and was kind of out on my own. And Kathleen and I kind of had a little mom and pop business, and which was my career. I don't know. I tried to write songs in different ways, be less precious about it, and more spontaneous. And I used to sit at the piano more like Tim Panelli style, and I would just wait for a song. I always, I guess, fantasized about what it must have been like to work in a Brill building and write songs in that fashion. And then I realized I was missing something. I started paying more attention to how kids write songs. Kids write songs really fast, and they write them about anything, and then they're gone. And so I tried to approach it more from that angle.
So you always looking for things, non-musical instruments that you can make noise with?
Well, sure, but I think everybody does that in the studio. That's just in the natural course of recording. Inevitably, someone will look around the room and find something that when they hit it, it sounds better than their cymbal or better than their bass drum. You might use the dumpster in the alley. You get a bigger sound than your bass drum. So you go ahead and do it. You put a mic in it and you use it.
Where did you record Mule Variations?
Right down the hill from here. Small studio called Prairie Sun. Just a small room. Not really a recording studio. The room itself is not a recording studio. It's just just a concrete room. But they run these lines down from the board, and that's where we work. So.
And we're here in Northern California. On Chocolate Jesus on the record, there's a rooster crowing. Where did that come from? Because the rooster's crowing on cue.
Well, hey, roosters will never crow when you're crowing. They wait till there's some clean air. They wait till you're done, and then they get the best spot, which I've found about recording outside. Most people are afraid to record outside because they're going to have too many collisions with the natural world. But I found if you do go outside, everything collaborates with you, including airplanes and movies. They make movies outside. You have to wait sometimes for a train to pass or school to let out or whatever. Dogs, kids, trains, cars, planes, and chickens will kind of find their own place if you do go outside.